afternoon, students. Are you hearing my voice? Right. In the last class, we discussed up to the constitutional developments up to Charter Act of 1813. Okay, so from the Regulating Act onwards, Regulating Act 1773 to Charter Act of 1813, we discussed in the last class. Okay, so we have to see the certain provisions of this Charter Act of 1833, and then what are the other important acts which passed during the time of colonial India. Okay, so before going to that, I have to share my screen, and then I will start my lecture. Students, Venkatama, are you getting my screen? వెంకటమ్మ స్క్రీన్ కనిపిస్తుందా? Are you hearing my voice? వెంకటమ్మ, నా వాయిస్ వినిపిస్తుందా?
సార్ వినబడుతుంది సార్.
స్క్రీన్ కనిపిస్తుందా? స్క్రీన్ కనిపిస్తుందా?
కనిపిస్తుంది సార్.
యా, రైట్. సో లాస్ట్ క్లాస్లో మనం ఏదైతే కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ డెవలప్మెంట్కి సంబంధించి అందులో ఏదైతే కాన్స్టిట్యూషనల్ రిఫార్మ్స్ రెగ్యులేటింగ్ యాక్ట్ నుంచి 1773 నుంచి చార్టర్ యాక్ట్ ఆఫ్ 1853 వరకు చెప్పుకున్నాం. సారీ, చార్టర్ యాక్ట్ ఆఫ్ 1813 వరకు చెప్పుకున్నాం. ఓకే, సో ఈరోజు చార్టర్ యాక్ట్ ఆఫ్ 1833 నుంచి చూద్దాం. ఓకే, so before going to Charter Act of 1833, we have to see certain things what we discussed in the last class. Okay, so in the Regulating Act which is passed in 1833, 1773, we have certain provisions we already discussed, like Governor General, Governor of Bengal to be a Governor General of British India, and Governor General to be the supreme head of the presidencies and recognize the legislative power in the presidencies. Okay, so likewise we discussed certain things in the last class, and we had a certain provisions also we discussed in the PITS India Act and then 18 Charter Act of 1813. Okay, so in the Charter Act of 1813, we had certain things like certain essential provisions in the Act for the powers of Board of Control to superintend and control and direct the affairs of India were clearly defined and greatly enlarged. Okay, so and the company powers of patronage were reduced. Okay, so according to 1813 Charter Act, the company's powers which is reduced, and the court of directors were to make appointments to the officers of Governor General and Commander in Chief, Governor, etc., and subject to the approval of the King of England, and their orders to this effect had to be countersigned by the Board of Control. Okay, which is also another important provision from Charter Act of 1813. And and the British Crown's sovereignty over the company's territorial acquisition was totally explicitly proclaimed. And the most important provision was concerned with the trade. The company tea trade with China was reserved for it, but trade monopoly to India was completely abolished. Okay, so and the British merchants and missionaries were given full liberty to settle in India, and the company was required to appoint one bishop at Calcutta with three archie bishops to work under him. Okay, so such provisions we discussed in the last class regarding the Charter Act of 1830. When you see in the Charter Act of 1833, which is one of the important act to be discussed. Okay, so all the acts which passed by the British Parliament to regulate the affairs of the East India Company, and the Charter Act of 1833 stands out as a most comprehensive and far-reaching is reaching in effect. And there were circumstances both in India and England which necessitated the passing of the act. In India, the policy of intervention and territorial expansion, which pursued by the Wellesley and Hastings, had added enormously to the territory of the company and also to the consequent difficulties in administration. Okay, so in England, parliamentary reforms had brought into being a reformed House of Commons where liberalism was at ascendancy. And further, that was a clamor for freedom of trade in India and unrestricted immigration of Europeans into India. And reform of Indian laws, and also important to mention the influence, among others, of two liberals who are intimately associated with the James Mill. And the farmer who was then in the parliament was secretary to the Board of Control, and the later was examiner of Indian correspondent at India House. Okay, so and the administration in India, namely the Union of Trade with the sovereign, by ordering the company to close its commercial business as soon as possible. And another interesting provision of the Act, death with the education and employment territories, nor any natural born subject to His Majesty residence therein shall be reason only of his religion, place of birth, descent, color, or any of them. He was this class which, according to Lord Morley, made the Act of 1833 the most important Indian Act passed by the Parliament till up to the 1909. Okay, so whether the policy is initiated in this provision was given effect in practice or not, it certainly reflects indeed a liberal and humanitarian attitude on the part of British Parliament. Okay, so and when you see certain things regarding this act, basically, what are the important provisions you will find in this act? One is, according to this act, the act power is intended to be reserved to the Parliament to control and supersede or prevent the Governor General in Council, and he said territories and all the inhabitants thereof is an full and ample and manner a manner as if the act had not been passed. Okay, so that the act directed the Governor General in Council to take steps both for the amelioration of slaves in the sense lower classes. Okay, so slaves in India, and to propose measure for the abolition of slavery throughout in India. Okay, So we don't find any slavery in India, but such conditions which prevail at that time prevail in the life of these lower class sections. Okay. So while the Regulating Act had initiated a process of centralization by creating the Office of the Governor General, the Act of 1833 marked the culmination of that process by establishing the complete mastery of the Governor General in Council over the entire British Indian administration. Okay, so when you see certain significance of this act, okay, already you are observing on the screen addition of the fourth member to the Governor General in Council and concentrated all the legislative powers in the Governor General in Council and deprived the local government of the power of independent legislation and authorized presidency governments merely to submit drafts or projects of any laws regulations deemed expedient or necessary to the Governor General in Council. Okay, so these are certain important provisions you find in 1833, and when you see certain significance of the Act, the Charter Act of 1833 is deemed to be the most significant measure enacted by British Parliament during the 19th century. Other constitutional measures of the current century pale into insignificance when the compared individual with it. Lord Morley truly describes it as the most extensive measure of the Indian government between Pitt's India Act of 1784 and the Queen's Victoria's assumption of the powers of the government in 1858. Okay. So, and indeed, the act not only affected the changes of far reaching importance in the government of India, but also made such declarations and touched at broad humanitarian principles. Okay, so in the same act, section 87, section 87 of the Act, Charter Act of 1833, which embodied excellent sentiment of the British politicians of that time towards the Indian masses. Okay, so fitness was to be the only criteria of eligibility in the matters of higher services. The natives were not to be debarred from the holding any office under the company simply on the basis of the religion, place of birth, descent, or color. Okay, so Ramsay, which is Ramsay Moore, which is commented on this section by describing it as a unparalleled declaration which a ruling class can announce in regard to its recently conquered subjects. Okay, so Macaulay termed it as a wise and benevolent and noble clause of the Act, explaining the significance of the section 87 of the Act. The dispatch observed that its object was not to ascertain the qualification but to remove disqualifications. Okay, so and is there any other significance means the act by abolishing completely the company's monopoly. Okay, so according to Charter Act of 1833, which abolished totally the monopoly of the company, which is abolished the total monopoly of the companies of the tea trade and trade with China. Okay, so removed one of the most glaring defects of the Indian administration, that is the union of territories, the union of traders and the sovereign. Okay, so the company ceased to be a commercial body. It was to act as a administrative body in future. Till its abolition in 1858, the company was vested with the political functions only. Okay, so and the act also unsealed the first time the doors of British India to British subject of European birth. Okay, so they were entitled to live in the country and even occupy land, and this free ingress of Europeans in India promoted their general improvement uh, the general improvement and prosperity. Okay, so a certain critics also you find a few critics, however, opinion that mass exodus of the Europeans to India resulted in the exploitation of Indian people who were the customer of the English goods. Okay, so and the act has also constituted a law commission with Macaulay as its first president, and the Indian Penal Code and the codes of civil and the criminal procedures are the custom of efforts of this commission, and headed as it was by an embodiment of legal and practical sagacity. Okay, so and thus we can safely conclude that the Act of 1833 was a measure of great constitutional significance. It removed some of the potent defect in the system of administration. It introduced uniformity in the laws of government by establishing the legislative supremacy of the central government and doing away with the diversities in the laws of different presidencies. Okay, so and this is certain provisions about Charter Act of 1833, and after Charter Act of 1833, there is another important Charter Act which is passed after 20 years of this, is nothing but Charter Act of 1853. Okay, so when you see certain provisions of Charter Act of 1853, and there are certain important things also you find on the screen, your screen, which is there are certain important provisions also you find on the screen, which is the British Parliament appointed two committees in 1852 to inquire into the matter, and on the basis of their reports, the Charter Act of 1853 was shaped. Okay, so we see one by one the provisions in this act. The act provided that the salaries of the members of Board of Control and secretary and other officers would be fixed by Her Majesty's government, but would be charged on Indian revenues. Okay, so which is the salaries of this board of members of Board of Control and secretary, which is only given by the revenue from the British Indian government. Okay, so and the company was granted to hold the revenue and the territories of India in trust for Her Majesty and her heirs and successors, not for 20 years this time, but until the Parliament would otherwise provide. Okay, so the company was granted to hold the revenue and the territories of India in trust for Her Majesty, her heirs and successors, not for 20 years of the time. Okay, so the doctrine of lapse, which is followed by Lord Dalhousie, which is based on this provision only. Okay, so and the number of court of directors has reduced from 24 to 18, and six of these were to be nominated by the crown. Okay, so there are members in the court of directors is 24 before, and according to this act, it may be reduced up to the 18. Okay, so 18 members. Within the 18 members, six of the total 18 members are to be nominated by a crown. Okay, so six members by nominated by the crown, and the court of directors were deposed of their power of patronage. Okay, and the service was thrown open to competition in which no discrimination of religion, caste, or creed was to be made. Okay, so and in India, this Charter Act carried the separation of legislative from the executive functions as a step further. Okay, which is separated the legislative from the executive, and the law member was made a full member of the Governor General's Executive Council. He was to assist the Governor General in the enactment of legislation. Okay, so the member, the law member which made the full member in the Governor General Executive Council, and the Governor General consent was necessary for all legislative proposals. Any act to be, any bill to be passed, it must be approved by the Governor General. And the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Calcutta was to be an unofficial member of this council. Okay, so and the most significant provision of the 1853 was that it did not renew the charter for a specified period. Instead, it said that the Indian territories would remain under the government of the directors to 18 from 24, and provided that 6 of them should be appointed by the crown. Okay, so it authorized the appointment of a lieutenant general for Bengal. It also it also provided for the enlargement of the executive council of Governor General to cope with the Court of Directors, and the Civil Service of India was thrown open to competition. A year later, by a new enactment, the Act of 1854, Parliament provided for the appointment of chief commissioners to head minor provinces in India. Okay, so when you see certain constitutional importance of this act, the Charter Act of 1853 is a measure of constitutional importance. The fact that the company's charter was not renewed for any definite period and made it crystal clear that the company's end was fast approaching. Okay, so and the act created a separate legislation council. Strictly speaking, it was not a separate legislative council. Okay, so the executive council was only enlarged for the purpose of legislation. Yet, in the words of the important member of Montfort report in 1853, that legislation was further the first time treated as a special function of the government, requiring special machinery and special process. Okay, so and the act which is implemented the high sounding noble declaration contained in section 18.7 of the Charter Act of 1833. Okay, so according to this, the recruitment was to be made on the basis of merit. Okay, so no partiality, and no recruitment may be followed according to such religion or any caste or like that. Okay, so and the appointment of English Law Commission to examine and consider the mass of reports and drafts left by the Indian Law Commission, now a defunct body, was a matter of great significance. It labors bore somewhat fruit. Okay, so when you see, the act considerably enhanced the prestige of the president of Board of Control by placing him on par with the Secretary of State as regards his salary and rank. Okay, so these are certain important uh, things, important provisions you find from the Charter Act of 1853. Okay, so when you see the Government Act of India 1858, which is important constitutional development which taken place from 1857 to 1947. Okay, so this is important a constitutional development which taken place after the revolt of 1857. Okay, so this is about 18 Charter Act of 1853, and this is end of my class today. And tomorrow we'll see about the Government Act of India, the Government Act of 1858, and then onwards. Okay, so these are certain acts which enacted before the 1857 revolt, and the Regulating Act of 1773, and Pitt's India Act of 1784, and Charter Act of 1793, Charter Act of 1813, Charter Act of 1830 and Charter Act of 1850. Okay. So these are certain acts which passed or enacted before the 1857 revolt, and immediately after end of 1857 revolt, there is another, a Queen's Proclamation has passed into an act, is nothing but 18 Charter Government of Act of India 1858. Okay, so there are certain important provisions also you are observing on the screen, like which is the important act which passed in 1858, and many changes has taken place according to this act, and we'll see these provisions in the tomorrow's class. Okay, so these are the things regarding the Charter Act of 1833 and the Charter Act of 1853. Okay, so thank you, students. You have any queries or doubts regarding these both act, Charter Act of 1833 and Charter Act of 1853? Now you are welcome to ask. It is open for discussion. Are you hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so regarding these both act, have you any questions or queries? Now you are welcome to ask. ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా దీనికి సంబంధించి? చార్టర్ యాక్ట్ ఆఫ్ 1833 అండ్ చార్టర్ యాక్ట్ ఆఫ్ 1853కి సంబంధించినటువంటి ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. I am ending my class now. I will meet you tomorrow at the same time. Okay. So thank you very much.
Okay, sir.